Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Box, where we'll be doing our car launch review and our testing preview. Joining me today, Craig McLean.
Hello.
And Craig Edwards.
Hello.
As well. So we'll just go straight into it. Car launches. We have had 5 so far out of 10. Your overall thoughts so far on how it's been going?
I mean, people don't like the Halos, so that's one thing, and that wasn't a surprise at all. So I've seen a lot of negative comments about them. The Renault looks quite nice. I like the Silver's new livery. I'm a very big fan of the Red Bull testing livery, so it's annoying that Red Bull's livery is already so good as it is, because you want to see these test ones that they put out on the grid as well. Yeah. It's the same as the one they used a couple of years ago. I think it's on the Red Bull. The kind of the barge boards are quite aggressive looking. I think that's going to be quite a common trait of most cars this season. So that could be a big aerodynamic area that's possibly influenced by the Halo, obviously being quite close to them in the car. I'm not quite sure of the kind of engineering aspects of it, but yeah.
Craig, the Haas and the Williams, basically no change at all in terms of looks, apart from the Halo, obviously.
Yeah, in looks, there's not really much changed, but I don't think you can really read much into it until they're actually out on the track, because even still, there's nothing new on them, but they might have a load of new parts that they don't want to put on them. So it could be that.
Teams are probably still hiding things at this stage. Until testing actually begins, I think there'll be a lot of teams just keeping it on a down low. I mean, cars used to launch a bit earlier back in the day. Used to usually launch in January, so now it's usually left till quite late. I mean, some teams probably aren't actually going to release their cars until testing now. And you can't blame them, because development is at such a fast rate these days that if another team spots something on another car, then it's a week and a half till testing. They could develop it in that time, and whatever advantage they've gained is already gone. So.
Yep. A very important question: will Williams ever change their livery ever again, or are they just going to keep with the same?
I mean, it's only been like that livery for 4 or 5 years now. So
it's because of the Martini sponsorship.
Eventually, when Martini changed their, you don't want teams changing their livery every season. You want iconic liveries. Before they had their Rothmans livery in the 90s for years. I think 4 or 5 years. But it was pretty similar to the one before that anyway. So, I like to see some of the teams at the back changing their colour scheme every now and again, because it's nice to see a bit more like fluorescence on the grid. But you kind of want a team to have an identity. Like, that's a Silver, that's a Renault.
So out of the ones launched so far, which one has been your favourite, if you had to pick one?
I'd probably say the Red Bull, because it looks like quite an aggressive car. They've taken quite a few risks in terms of their aero package. The testing livery is clever as well, because it'll hide kind of some of the aspects that they've got on their car. I'd like to think they can challenge for the title this season. They've said that that's their aim, but I think Helmut Marko's been quite negative in his comments to the press. So we'll see, obviously, come Melbourne. You can't really predict what's going to happen until literally qualifying. Even during practice, they might be sandbagging. So, I think Red Bull will look like they could be a bit closer this season, hopefully.
I could say they even sandbag in qualifying. You look at last year, Vettel lifted off in Q2.
Yeah.
So it's not even till Q3 that you might not see the exact pace of them.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Craig, do you agree that the Red Bull is the best out of the ones so far?
I think if you look at the 5 of the ones that have been released, they're the ones that you're most expecting to do something this season. So I think that's obviously why you're most excited about them. Renault, the other 4, they all looked a bit too bare to me. They all look like for me, they're all they must be hiding something. Otherwise, they're
Sauber have apparently taken some kind of parts of the Ferrari from last season. I think now the Alpha sponsorship deal's kind of been announced, I think Sauber will definitely be much more kind of challenging the lower midfield at this stage this season coming. And with a few kind of rookie drivers in the grid, they might be able to pick up a few points. Ericsson's got experience, Leclerc's got talent, so they might be able to hopefully do better than they have and the last couple of years, because last year was a big struggle for them.
Yeah, and of the cars still to be announced, obviously Ferrari, Mercedes, Force India, I'm forgetting some of it now.
Toro
Rosso and
McLaren.
last one McLaren. You expecting any surprises there out of them in terms of either livery or design?
Who knows with McLaren?
I think I'm quite interested to see the McLaren. I think they might go quite aggressive this year. They kind of need to. Obviously, it's been such a struggle the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's not that documentary I showed on Amazon Prime showing how difficult a couple of years has been for them, and showing how, under Honda there was actually like communication issues because some of the Honda mechanics only spoke Japanese and some of the British mechanics only spoke English. So, when there's problems like that, you can understand why there was issues in the team. So I think McLaren will go aggressive this year. I'm interested to see Mercedes and Ferrari's car. Obviously,
I think they'll just be the same, like in terms of design or livery. Last year.
Mercedes and Ferrari are obviously going to keep the same sort of colour scheme and that.
I think they're just going to be
Toro
evolutions.
Rosso may be the only team so far that haven't released that might change their scheme. You imagine Force India will keep the pink. Obviously, they've got that deal with their the water company now. So, I think should be interesting to see the Ferrari and the Mercedes see how aggressive they go this season.
Do you agree with that, Craig?
Yeah, I think those two will definitely just be evolutions of last year's. But I think Force India could be an interesting one. Obviously, they're going to be it's going to be a lot tighter, we believe, in the midfield this year. Do they have to try something different to keep in front, or do they keep going and hope what they've got is good enough?
I'm not sure what to expect from Force India, because at this stage you're expecting McLaren to come back now that they've gotten rid of the Honda engine. You're expecting Renault to just keep getting stronger. Force India have got to drop off eventually. They're a bit of a St Johnston, like they're just kind of waiting for people who aren't in Scotland. That's a team that are maybe doing a bit better than they usually should do, but they finally dropped off. So that's maybe what Force India are going to do. So obviously they've been doing well the last couple of years. Fourth last season is a very good result, and I don't know if they can really get any higher than that. Will they be 7th or 8th this season, or will they challenge for 4th, 5th again?
You could look at Jordan in past years.
Yeah, and obviously that is a reincarnated Jordan, the team that are now Force India. I think they are quite similar as teams. They're doing well right now, but they might be at their peak. Whatever happened to them changing their name?
I don't know, it just seemed to die away, didn't it?
Yeah, because there was talks about them becoming called Force 1, and that got taken away because there was F1, and there was talks about them just being called Force, but still Force India. So
I couldn't come up with a decent enough name to be able to change it. On to testing. First question, the one that comes up every single year: is Catalonia still the best track to do testing at?
Yep. I mean, there's a long straight followed by another kind of long straight. There's fast corners, there's slow corners. There's everything you need to test every aspect of the car. If you're wanting to test, the cornering ability, then you've got it perfect. The max speed, you've got the long straight. Like, there's everything you need is in that circuit. You could say the same. I was going to say, you could say the same about Silverstone. I think Silverstone's a good place to test as well. Now you've got the kind of village section in the kind of new arena circuit. I think that would be a good kind of place to test a car in Formula 1 nowadays.
The weather, though.
The weather, that is the only aspect. Yeah, it's so cold and it's so wet in February that it's not handy. So realistically, Catalonia is the best place to go.
You still a fan of the wet weather test that they do on a few of the days? There has been some, comments about this in the past.
Seems a bit too artificial to me.
Yeah, consider how many wet races you get in F1 as well.
And the problem is, they just wet the track, so they dry it up very quickly.
Yeah,
it's not actually in any representation to what a wet race is or where it's raining.
No.
So I'm not a fan of the wet weather test. Then, in terms of who is going to be testing, are you expecting any surprises? Are there any reserve drivers going to get a wee chance?
I've seen Force India's Ocon and Perez only doing 2 of the first 4 days.
I'll probably give Russell a chance as well.
I can't remember who the 2 other drivers are, but there's one doing day 1 and one doing day 4.
Russell, when is it Latifi?
I think Latifi must
be. I mean, all the teams are going to probably give some development drivers a chance in the car.
Not all have been announced yet, though. We don't know who the development drivers are.
Not true. You might see Kubica in the Williams one day, but yeah, you can't predict really. So, I mean, when you say any surprises, obviously they're not going to be firing like Carmen Jordan, Ferrari, or anything like that. But we'll see. Most of the actual drivers in the grid are probably going to want a wee test of the car that they're going to be racing in all season, especially the likes of Sirotkin, Leclerc, who are obviously making the debuts in F1. They're going to want to get a feel of the car.
Yeah, obviously there's no way you can predict anything, but you're going to do any outlandish predictions for the first week? Make yourself look good.
Mercedes look like they're miles ahead, but hopefully it then turns out Australia they're not actually as far ahead as it seems. I think Mercedes will look like they're miles ahead, and you'll hear rumours of them being, they're a second clear of everyone. I'm pretty sure I remember that last year, and it wasn't true in the end.
Craig?
Yeah. And you always have the weird days. Like I remember Massa and the Williams topped the day last year, and then everyone started going, is he gonna on his comeback and everything? So it's one that you're never quite sure, but it's more how reliable they are to compare how fast they are. I think to look at.
That's the main thing, I mean, remember testing last year. We were just seeing the McLaren were breaking down after 6 laps and 10 laps and 3 laps, and if they can get in that first test in Barcelona, in the first day, if they can get a 40-lap run, then they're ahead of what they were at this stage last season. So fingers crossed for them, because it's been a hard run for one of the best teams in the history of Formula 1.
Yep. Prediction: who will crash first?
I mean, I don't know. Can you predict that?
Who's danger prone?
Something like Grosjean. Been in the sand or something.
I think last year it was Stroll that crashed first, I think. Depending on your definition of a crash.
That was the beginning of an interesting saga.
Yeah.
Which,
could be anyone, to be honest. Fastest lap, you'd expect it to be either Ferrari or Mercedes.
Depends what stints they go on, because they might just go on long runs. But at the same time, you kind of expect a few teams to see what their 1 lap pace is. They're probably going to want to push not quality simulations, but just see what the car is like at its limits. So for that reason, it'll probably be someone like Ocon, because like Mercedes probably won't do that, but you'll probably get that from it.
The top teams won't.
That'll do us for today, I think. Testing next week. We'll be back at the end of the week with our roundup and review of week 1. Thanks to Craig McLean and Craig Edwards as well. Tune in next time.
You're my heartbeat, my silent drum that escape can be till I'm numb. I wanna feel the love that James Brown did when he got standing ovations on his gig. I wanna feel free like a